Alright guys, got a fun one today. Got a 2008 Tahoe LTZ with the Z55 autoride package, and we're going to be rebuilding the front suspension. Let's look at everything we got. We got outer and inner tie rods, sway bar end links. We got one axle. We got both front struts, both front upper control arms. So if you notice, the only things we're not replacing are the lower ball joints and the wheel bearing hub assemblies. And the reasons for that is because we replaced those within the last year or two, and they're still good, because at the time that was the only thing wrong with it. So the reason where we're at today is because I noticed I had one strut leaking, and I had a axle, CV axle, front CV axle leaking. And I also noticed that with checking the play, I've got a little bit of play in one tie rod on this side, a little bit on that side. So we're going to go ahead and completely change all of that. That way we should be good for a long time. And because the reason being that you don't want to just put one part on, go have an alignment done, 6 months, another one's wore out, change that, go have an alignment done. It's better to go ahead and get it all done, get an alignment done. I'm going to put a new set of tires on it. That way we should be good to ride for a while. So one of the things with the Z55 and the Magna Ride package is these front struts are really expensive. If you go to the parts store and you buy a complete strut, they're probably going to be anywhere from $500 to $600. That's ridiculous. So you got two options. Some people will bypass them. They'll put a standard style strut on there, and they've got some bypass modules, basically a resistor that'll plug in, and because it will throw a service light, and a lot of times that'll reduce speed and reduce a lot of stuff on the vehicle, so we don't want that. So you can do the bypass kit, but I've read on some of the new ones, I think it works pretty well. On the older ones, it seems like I haven't seen any of these kits that are really successful or dependable. So, and the whole reason of doing that is just will be to save a little bit of money. But I found, actually found a true autoride strut from Monroe, and I got these on. Found them online on sale for $180 a piece. So here's the part number. So this is just a strut assembly, so I'm gonna have to transfer my struts, my shocks and everything, springs. I have to transfer my springs over to this one. But you know, $360 for two of these versus $1,000, $1,200, or even if I'd done you know, put a standard style strut on there, I still wouldn't be saving much money. And then I'd have to deal with if that bypass, you know, if that bypass kit doesn't work, and if we still have that error code. So I want to go ahead and just, this seems to be the best bet for finding this strut at a good price and putting it on and have everything just the way it's supposed to be. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna get started on it. I'm gonna jack it up, support it on jack stands, pull the wheels off, then we'll get cracking on it. Okay, so this is what we're working with. So you can see the grease from our CV axle. You can also see, maybe you can see this strut is oily. This is the one that's leaking. So like I said, I'm not changing lower ball joints or control arms. I'll probably just leave the spindle connected to the lower control arm. And once I get the upper off, I'll probably take like a bungee cord and just kind of tie it up. That way it's not just flopping over. But notice that the on these struts, hopefully you can see there's a connector on top. So you gotta make sure you get that off. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get cracking. So it's 15s holding the CV axle to the stub shaft. Do one, turn it. .36 millimeter right here. This ABS wheel speed sensor here. Disconnect this. It's connected from this bracket too. Right there. Okay. 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 Yeah, I went ahead and disconnected the electrical connector on our upper control arm. I mean, dang on it. From the top of our strut. So I put a jack under the lower control arm, so it's going to support this up while we drop our strut. because if you just drop the strut, all this is going to drop down. Now, if I were replacing the ball joints too, what I would do is I would unbolt the caliper and I would hang it up out the way, and then I would just pull the whole spindle off, lay it to the side, and then everything's out of your way. And yeah, then you don't have to mess around with it. But anyway, let's go ahead and now I've got it supported at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and break loose the upper control arm nut. It's an 18. And oh, another thing we need to do, mark, even though we're replacing these, mark these washers right here, your adjustment. That way when we put it back together, we'll put it back in that same spot. That way on our drive to the alignment shop, it'll be at least relatively close and it won't be dangerous to drive. So make sure you do that before you take the upper control arm loose. Go ahead and practice those two. These control arm bolts are 21s. Bolts on the bottom of the struts are 15s. So go ahead and pop those loose. I'll drop this down just a little bit. So next I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna unbolt the control arm completely and pull it out, and I'm gonna just tie up this well, this, being I still got the tie rod on, this won't really fall completely out. It might be easier for you to just take the brake off, just completely remove the spindle. That's probably the easiest thing to do, but I just don't feel like doing that. So I'm just gonna work around it. Sometimes working around things is harder than just going ahead and taking everything off and getting to it. I've learned that the hard way. Okay, get that ball joint broke loose. Get that up out the way. So the main thing you're looking for here is just to make sure that this isn't pulling. And since we got our CV axle disconnected, it's not a problem if this lays down. If it was, that's why a lot of times if I'm doing any kind of service work on these four-wheel drive ones, I'll go ahead and unbolt the CV axle. That way it can articulate as much as I need to without it damaging the joints. Also, I just remembered, on these vehicles, I don't remember if it's this side or that side, there's one side that you can remove the control arm with the strut in place. There's one side you cannot. And because on one side it'll hit, I think it's this side you can't, it'll hit the springs. So if that's the case, you unbolt the top, drop it down, you can get the bolts out, put them back in. That's if you're just changing control arm, but we're changing everything, so it really doesn't matter. So the top bolts are 18s on the strut up here. So we're gonna start getting these broke loose. Now we can pull our control arm bolts. And remove the upper control arm. Another thing to note, right and left control arm bolts are different. Well, they're not necessarily different, but the washers are backwards, so make sure you put them back. When I take a right one out, I put it on the right side, take a left one out, put it on the left side, that way I don't get them mixed up. Okay, I'll go ahead and put the new control arm in place. So I'm at a stopping point right now. So in order to install my new struts, first I've got to transfer the spring, the top mount and all that off of the old ones onto the new ones. I don't have a really nice compressor here, so I'm gonna have to wait until tomorrow to go to a friend's shop, use their nice one, and get my struts built, then bring them back and put on. So basically for right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna loosely install this control arm just to hold everything together. So once I've got that there sturdy, I'm gonna remove the I'm gonna replace the tie rods. I'm gonna do the same for the other side, and then you'll see I'll bring my tomorrow I'll bring my struts back. I have my new ones. We'll throw those on, throw our axle on, then we'll pretty much be done with it. So for now, like I said, I'm gonna button this up, then we'll move on to the tie rods. Since I'm going to be replacing both of these, what I like to do is not even worry about separating them, because it's just a waste of time. But I'll still pull my boot down. Okay. That boot out the way. That's still fairly tight. Anyway, so this is 4-sided here. I'm gonna break that loose and get that off. Okay. Don't judge me. I didn't bring the right size wrench, so using a pipe wrench on it. All right. Now, so I'm sitting here trying to save work on myself. I'll just remove the whole thing, but I forgot. I'm still gonna have to remove it because I gotta get my boot off. So, all right, that's basically what I did. I put these side by side. You can't see with that in the way, but just got the man were the same length. So now I'm gonna mark this one. That way I'll know once I do put it back together, put the boot on and everything, I'll know where this one should go to get us about in the same area. Also, so holding these boots to the rack is usually these type of clamps, and you just have to break them off. So that's what we did. So usually I'll dab a little bit of thread locker on these, but this one already has it on. So go ahead and put this on. So I forgot I got an inner tie rod tool. So since I don't have the right size wrench, I'm gonna use my inner tie rod tool to tighten this down. That way I can ensure that I've got it torqued. Okay. And the torque spec on this is 72 foot-pounds. Okay, so now we gotta slide our boot on, and I replaced the clamp with tie rod. This is how I always do these. Okay guys, we got our strut assembly back. This is our new one. New strut with our original springs and top mount. Get that put on the vehicle and keep moving with it. just start the nuts. And once we get the bottom bolts started, then we'll tighten everything down. Ratchet wrench is the key here. According to the info I have, the upper and lower strut bolts torque to 37 foot-pounds. Okay, got the splines to the knuckle. I'm gonna go ahead and start the washer and nut here, just to keep this from backing out of the knuckle. All I'm gonna do is I usually just kind of see. Start my spindle, my ball joint nut to hold this from falling down. Now I can focus on starting my bolts that hold the axle to the diff. All right, so next I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up our upper control arm. So remember that this aftermarket one has a cotter pin in this ball joint, or the stock one did not. So remember to put that in. So make sure you take the cotter pin and insert it. So next, we're tightening these down, and I'm just gonna snug them up really good. I'm not gonna worry about a final torque on them because the alignment shop's gonna have to loosen those and retorque them anyway. So something I like to do when I'm working on stuff, and especially when I'm coming to a completion, is kind of go over stuff as an assembly and make sure that everything's right and make sure that everything's torqued. So strut, I know it's torqued. Still gotta put the adapter on top and plug it in, but that's torqued. Control arm, torqued. Working my way down. Ball joint, axle. So the only thing left is our tie rod. Tighten that up, cotter pin, sway bar end links, and our bracketry here, and we'll pretty much have it all rounded up. And they have to come back and grease these greasable pieces. But yeah, let me go ahead. We'll tighten this up, torque that, cotter pin in that, finish this final assembly, and then we'll be pretty much done. Okay, got the spec, the check, then the hole's not lined up for our cotter pin, we'll snug it until it is. And actually it's right there at it, so put us a new pin in and we'll be good. All right, so we got it all buttoned up, got everything greased. About to throw the wheels on, get them torqued. So let's give it one more kind of once around of what all we did. So like I said, we had one of our struts was leaking, so we put a new strut. This is the autoride or autoride strut. This is a Monroe, it's a 447. So I used my original spring, top mount off my old one. Got new inner and outer tie rods. New CV axle on this side. New sway bar end links on both sides. New control arms on both sides. Like I said, the lower ball joints have just been replaced, as well as the wheel bearing hub assemblies. So that's basically all we did. It's the same on this side, except our CV axle was still fine, so we did not replace that. But like I said, we got everything torqued. Got our adapter here and our electrical connector plugged in on both struts. Okay, got everything greased. All right, so I'm gonna throw my wheels on and get everything buttoned up and get alignment, get new tires on it, and we should be good to go for quite a while more, hopefully. But all right, if you learn anything about this, let me know. If you got any questions, let me know, or any suggestions or anything like that, anything else you want to see, let me know. And then hey, we'll see you on the next one. Appreciate you for watching.